When I went into this challenge, I did it with hope, and honestly, expectation that it wouldn't be easy, of course, but not too brutal. What a poor fool I once again proved to be. What else could I expect? Trying to beat 2004's Star Wars Battlefront in all the ways you shouldn't. Taking inspiration from Big Boy What, the far superior challenge gamer who I highly recommend checking out, I created this wheel of challenges. With each level of the 16 level game having the same win condition of either capturing every command post on the map or eliminating every reinforcement, these challenges will completely decimate my ability to wage war. Every level, I will spin the wheel and contend with the challenge modifier, all the while on hard difficulty. Now let's go die across the galaxy in one of the most nightmarish challenges I've ever put myself through. War is an exhausting, draining experience. Or so I've heard, anyways. The droid march against the grenade-wielding Gungan natives isn't much of a march when my challenge is to not move. I'm allowed to turn my body, but wherever I spawn, I'm stuck right there. Good thing I have this sniper rifle. Less good is that I spawned in the middle of nowhere, but nothing a robotic heart attack can't fix. Assassinating Gungans from afar is not much trouble, since they're the weakest army in the game, and I only really struggle with my allies trying to give me more ammo. Tantalizingly close, yet impossibly far. No one has suffered in war more than me. Despite my slightly overdramatic response to being pushed, we conquer the Gungans and move to eliminate the far more skilled Feed Security Force. These guys actually thought to bring guns to the battle, and that's more than we can handle, since I'm only using a blaster pistol this time. The blaster pistol makes me envious of the power of a pillow, as the worst gun in the game, and constantly needs to recharge before I can even get one kill with it. One huge trouble I shall face throughout this war is auto-aim, meaning if anybody opens fire, the bolts will be guided, as if by the force itself, to the target. I hate auto-aim, but without it, I'd have no chance, because the enemies have it, and they rarely miss. This is the lifespan of a droid. Lightly jog to the fight, get destroyed immediately, and repeat until the defeat screen graces my vision. Only way for me to avoid that is by the rapid overtaking of key command posts in order to force the enemy into a small kill zone for a brutal firefight where we can whittle down their reinforcements into nothingness. It's actually my most crucial strategy, as I put it to use against the Wookiees as well when I have to win the battle in under 5 minutes. Like most of my strategies, it's flawed and relies on the luck that I can take the command post without dying too much, and my allies actually pulling their weight. We'll be very lucky if poor senile Count Dooku remembers where he is, let alone helps us fight at all. Maybe we should worry that that is the guy that's in charge of our entire government. Even if we wipe out most, the Wookiees love to taunt me by spreading out amongst the islands, ticking away the last seconds and losing me the 5 minutes. After nearly an hour fighting this way, my mind was on the fritz, until finally my team managed to exterminate the Wookiees at record speed, and I cornered the final one by myself, claiming victory with only 2 seconds left on the timer. As I sigh in relief, the Battle of Geonosis sucker punches me in the gut, a desert of pain and suffering that, for me, will stretch on for 6.5 hours as I struggle to beat it all without missing a single shot. Now that the droids are my enemies, they're of course so much more competent. Droidicas are the worst of it, with their shields and high-powered blasters tearing my clone brothers to shreds. Relying on my sniping is abysmal. Instead, I rely on the explosive firepower of a gunship from above to ensure I never miss. If the crosshairs don't light up on firing, indicating nothing was damaged from the shot, I wail with pain and restart the fight, whether it's my first shot or my 50th. 250 killer robots and giant bugs versus my impatience in making sure I won't miss. The odds are not in my favor. Much to my surprise, no matter how much I sound off a rallying for the Republic, that doesn't guarantee me victory, especially when my allies kill my target a nanosecond before my blast would have hit. The only bright spot to all these losses is hearing this magical sound. Only by restraining my trigger-happy impulses long enough am I able to finally free myself from that hellhole. Just for Yoda to say this.
Begun. The Clone War has.
I'm 8 hours into this, and that was only level 4. It probably says a lot that sniping my way through Rainy Camino for an hour with the goal of beating it without dying actually feels like a nice break. Especially since I'd spend the next 2 hours in icy misery, trying to fight off the Separatist assault while staying prone the entire time. Would be a lot easier if my allies didn't insist on shoving me out of my safe zone, or tanks without manners didn't drive directly in front of my vision. I have a lot of disdain for my fellow dysfunctional clones at this point, but I still feel bad gunning them down by accident when they insist on running right where I'm shooting. No matter how I try, how I wiggle my wee little clone body along, even changing the difficulty doesn't yield any success. In fact, the more I lower the difficulty, the worse my allies do, which I didn't think was possible, given how dumb they are already. And I always run out of ammo trying to hold the line if I manage to outsurvive everyone else. Seeing no hope for prone-only victory, I attempt an explosive-only fight. Unsurprisingly, that blows up in my face, and so I try one life only. The droid defense is just so strong, and my allies, being mostly for show, always lead to death. I was fully ready to quit here, but after sleeping on it, I refuse, coming back to commandeer a tank, rely on this little droid to keep that tank healed up, and wage war on every droid I see. Even then, I feel like the game is trying to tell me I'm supposed to lose here, with how difficult it proves to be. Every other member of my team falls, and every command post with them, except for this barely functioning ATTE. But I refuse to go down to these walking calculators, hunting down every single one. Finally freeing me from this level without dying, just barely. I killed 113 enemies out of the 250 total, but I bet I still do not get a promotion. I then spin the wheel and get no dying again, this time defending the Wookiees, and that's actually quite easy to do, hiding up here with my sniper. That anticlimactic end brings an end to the Clone Wars, and since nothing else of significance happens after the Battle of Kashyyyk, certainly not a whole movie's worth, we find ourselves years later serving the Empire. My first day on the job is quite enjoyable, as the wheel spins in favor of vehicles and turrets only, meaning regardless of throwing myself into the depths of the Sarlacc for the fun of it, taking home a victory is no trouble. And continuing that victory, I join up with old Darth Vader in clearing out a den of scum and villainy with explosives only. He's a wee bit confused, but he's doing his best, so I more than understand. Combine that with the fact that these rebels love to treat my landmines like trampolines, and it makes for another easy victory. Then my blood turns to ice as I find myself back on the frozen nightmare that is Ren Var. The rebels hit plenty hard, especially the very sturdy Wookiees, but they're nothing when compared to the droidicas of the Separatist army, meaning my blaster pistol only attempt succeeds on the first try. Especially helps that we started with 50 more soldiers than they do, the only advantage in numbers I'm given all game long. Good thing too, since we won with only 3 of us left standing, suggesting I'd have been doomed had it been a fair fight. Which I'm happy to prove by example when the fighting moves to the rebel base Yavin 4 and the numbers are even once more. I attempt a don't move challenge, but something about not being able to see the majority of the enemy just doesn't quite work for me. Really irksome when the other troopers keep spawning in and shoving me further and further into the corner. I'm going to get court-martialed for treason if this keeps up, lest I use the handy little trick of getting gunned down. It's quite disappointing that I don't move the entire battle and rarely see a soul, but I still outshoot all my allies. No wonder we keep losing. Seeing this is far too improbable for me, I switched to a 5-minute challenge, and boy do I wish I didn't do that. The rebels put up a valiant defense, using turrets in the first competent enemy snipers I've faced in this game to halt my advance. If I manage to wipe out the resistance I face, I still can't track down the last of the scattered survivors with the layout of these ruins in time. Didn't the ancient civilization who made this place have any care for ease of travel? This shameful approach to navigation locks me out of winning, only continuously coming close, but never able to seal the deal no matter how I fight. Foaming at the mouth at this point, I switch over to no death mode, which involves, can you guess? Plenty of deaths resetting me. If Palpatine wants these rebels dead so bad, the old prunehead can come down here and deal with them himself. That's what I'd like to tell him anyways, but as the coward I am, I instead choose to keep running back into fire. Finally, the right amount of luck and cautious firing allows me to beat back the rebels and wipe them out, bringing a painful end to the Empire side of things. Cause now I'm the rebels, facing off against a far mightier Empire. Why is it whenever I join a side, they immediately lose all their intelligence and skill? I certainly don't have enough of either quality for the balance to be tilting this badly, especially when I'm stuck with this speeder as my only means of fighting back. I've always avoided this transport since it's such a glass cannon, but being able to one-shot everyone is quite nice. Smashing into every single tree is slightly less so, but this is what happens every time I pilot anything. It's why I lost my license after the 16th restaurant I totaled. The speeder isn't enough on its own, so I borrow the Empire's walker. Plus, randomly, my allies pick up the slack and decimate the Imperials for me. I suppose that one time of being slightly useful means my team feels comfortable to go back to being incompetent, as I struggle to hold the line on Hoth. When I keep losing while trying to do explosives only, or not dying once, I become confused. What is the problem? Aren't the rebels supposed to lose here? It's called The Empire Strikes Back. Isn't losing the canon? Apparently not. As only by flying around and then hijacking another AT-ST am I able to blow up the Imperial assault and I guess change the canon? Not that it matters as my suffering quadruples on Bespin. What I neglected to mention for Hoth is that the Empire started with 50 more men than us, and that cruel trend continues to every other battle from here on out. For hours, I fight it out above and in the streets with just my pistol handy, as my allies literally stand there huddled together doing nothing. It seems the only way to make my allies useful is by capturing enough command posts that the counter-attacking Imperials trigger my non-moving allies to fight back, as they won't seek out combat themselves. I should be the only one ever trying the don't move challenge. I feel confident that strategy and good shooting helps a lot, but luck certainly carries the day, bringing it close to one of the most painful fights of the war. Still stuck on Bespin in the next battle, this time I make do flying above, shooting down Imperials and getting shot down myself. Not another happy landing after all. But for whatever reason that I can't understand, my team actually carries the day this time, doing the majority of the work and securing the first team-centric win. I will never know why, but boy am I thankful. This next battle is the final one of the war. One life to finish it. Whether it be gunned down or blown up by a tree, mostly the tree I admit, I always find myself fertilizing the flowers of Endor sooner or later. And when my entire team falls and all command posts are taken, with still 115 enemies left against me alone, I should fall as well. But using a stolen walker combined with that god-sent repair droid, I take a single command post and hold off wave after wave of counterattacks. Rockets and grenades are plenty dangerous, if they can get close enough, something I absolutely refuse to allow happen. With one final epic last stand finished, I found myself still standing, having killed 148 out of the 250 total soldiers in the battle, all without dying, bringing an end to the war. Huzzah! In one of the most painful and luck-based challenges of my shenanigans, I've beaten Star Wars Battlefront in most of the ways you shouldn't, over 23 hours, 56 minutes. I really mean it. No one should play like this. Let my broken body and mind be a warning to you. Now, maybe go play an old beloved game of yours in a way you really shouldn't, and hopefully you'll have some shred of sanity left by the end of it. Have a great day, friends.